All right, what's happening, guys? This is a crazy morning. I just woke up. I looked at my YouTube feed and just like check it out and see what's happening. And there was a Nintendo Direct. Nintendo just shadow dropped a Nintendo Direct Mini, March 26th, 2020. Let's talk about it. I'm so excited. Can't wait to get into it. So we've all been like wondering, where's that Nintendo Direct? You know, they've been giving us little stuff like the indie one and just like tiny announcements like that. But we've all been wondering, like, where is this big Direct coming? And lo and behold, wake up this morning and Shadow dropped a mini Direct. Now, before we start like talking about it, I'm gonna be talking about the games. Not every single game, but just the ones that I liked. Before we talk about it, I just want to like get this out of the way that this Direct wasn't really meant to have all Nintendo's heavy hitters. Like, this wasn't meant to plan out the rest of the year. This was just kind of to show you what's coming up in the next couple months and like what they have locked in for you to see. So if you watch this Direct and you're underwhelmed or you're not too happy with what they showed, just keep in mind that this is not at all it. Like, they have a lot more coming the rest of the year. There are going to be more announcements. Like, yes, E3 is canceled, but Nintendo, they had their digital presentations anyway. They're definitely gonna have more to show. And if you really look at what they showed in this Direct, everything they talked about was really in the next couple of months, or like for sure coming up this year. So yeah, just keep in mind that this is not it. There's 100% more coming. You want the heavy hitters, like you want Metroid 4, you want Breath of the Wild 2, like you want new 3D Mario. Like, it's coming in the future, down the road. This wasn't the Direct for it. This was just more to tide things over, like for more recent months. So yeah, with that out of the way, let's talk about it. Like, I'm super excited with what they showed, and let's just get into it. So the first game they started out with was Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, and I played Xenoblade Chronicles on my new 3DS a couple years back, and I really loved it. I really loved it. I've played all the Xenoblade games. I've played obviously Xenoblade on the new 3DS, like I just said. I played X on the Wii U. I love X so much, and I obviously have played 2 on the Switch. So seeing the Definitive Edition remake, I'm so excited for it. It has new graphics. They even redid the audio. And oh my god, I'm so excited. There's new endgame content. They have a new epilogue story. That's gonna be so hype. And I'm like, it's swirling around in my mind, like, what's happening with this? Because they showed like the little trailer for the endgame content, and there was like a portal, and they were like Futures Connect or something like that. Is Rex or something gonna be in this game? Like, similar to how they brought like Elma and Shulk and Fiora over into 2 as DLC. Are they gonna do something very similar for X? Like, I mean, not for X, for Definitive Edition? Like, I'm extremely curious, like, what's happening here? Like, I saw that portal in the sky, and I'm like, that doesn't really look like Xenoblade-ish. Like, that looks like DLC, like, wacky time nonsense, you know what I mean? So I'm super excited to see what's going on with that. I'm just super excited for that game in general because I loved it. I just really want to replay it and re-experience it because, yeah, it's probably, to me, all of the Xenoblade games are like super good. So I'd honestly say X is probably my favorite, then Xenoblade Chronicles is probably my second favorite, and then 2 is my third favorite. But like, they're all like super close. So I'm very excited. And I'm just, I'm gonna be sinking a couple hundred hours again into this game, and no regrets, baby. Let's get it. It also seemed like they streamlined a lot of the systems and the UI. Like, that was one of my big problems with the original game, is that it was kind of convoluted in that JRPG fashion, when it's just like there's so many systems and so many like stats that it just gets very confusing. But it looks like they're fixing some of that in the Definitive Edition, so I'm very excited to see that as well. And they announced the date of May 29th. And before we continue, I should have said this earlier, but they did announce at the beginning of the Direct that due to the current pandemic, that there may be delays, or what they show date-wise may be pushed back. So just expect that. They announced May 29th, but don't be surprised if that does get pushed back. I hope not, fingers crossed, but be prepared. So yeah, the next thing I want to talk about was something that really surprised me. So it was like a couple of games by 2K, and I gotta admit, when it first showed like 2K on the screen, I got really worried. I was like, 2K, are they just bringing another like trash basketball game that they barely like port and nobody wants to buy? But no, that's not the case at all. I completely forgot about the other properties that 2K has, and it turns out that they're bringing the BioShock collection, the Borderlands Legendary Collection, which includes 1, 2, and pre-sequel, as well as XCOM 2 collection. And that just freaking blew me away. Those are all insane games. We've heard whispers and rumors about like BioShock coming to Switch for months now, and for it to finally happen, to see it come to fruition, is crazy. I never thought it would happen personally. Like it just blew me away. It was definitely like one of the major announcements in this direct, and something I really wasn't expecting. And I'm going to be straightforward. I already have all of these games on PlayStation 4. So me personally, I'm probably not going to rebuy these games on Switch. So yeah, I mean, that's that. But like, these games coming out is like still super hype. Like, to see these third parties supporting Switch like this. And for all the people that don't have these games, this is a perfect place to play them. Like, playing these games portably or just like at all is amazing. And the graphics, like, it didn't look like it was downgraded that much. Like, it really does look good. Out of those three, I mean, I'm gonna be straight. I haven't played BioShock or XCOM 2, but I do have them. I just haven't gotten to them yet. So definitely out of those three, I'd probably say the one that I'm most hyped for is the Borderlands collection, because I love the Borderlands games. They're just really a lot of fun. And especially with Borderlands 3 that just came out recently, there's going to be a lot of hype surrounding Borderlands on the Switch. That's going to be really cool. And then one thing that kind of threw me off, though, is when they announced the like release date, I guess, for all three of those, which is kind of odd, I guess. But also May 29th, which is the same date that Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition was announced for. So, beyond the whole pandemic and pushing back dates, I could honestly see either Nintendo or 2K changing dates just to not be on top of each other. Like, granted, all four of those games aren't really targeting the same audience. I mean, maybe the 3 2K games are, but like the other, like Xenoblade with 2K games, they aren't really the same audience. Like most, like it can be, but it's not really generally the same audience. So maybe it won't change, but like I will not be surprised at all if that changes. And it's kind of funny that it ended up being on the same date. So I'm positive something is probably going to change on that front. Yeah, the next game was a shadow drop. It was called Shin Sekai Into the Depths. And it kind of like looked something that looked more at home, would have been more at home in the indie direct. And it was like deep sea exploration and like maybe like puzzle elements, maybe like roguelike elements, or not roguelike, but Metroidvania elements. And I don't know, it appealed to me. It looked really cool. And I just wanted to point it out. And yeah, it was a shadow drop, so it launched today as the filming of this video. But yeah, it wasn't like a huge announcement, but it was something that caught my eye and something I just wanted to mention real quick. The next thing that I wanted to talk about was some Animal Crossing updates. So, with the 1.1 update that came out on launch day, there was the Bunny Day update. So that's kind of like Easter. But one thing that I really like saw that I was like, whoa, what's happening there, is that it said it's happening from the 1st to the 12th. So is Bunny Day going to be 12 days long, or is it happening within that time frame? Like, if it's 12 days long, that's crazy, and that really lends to like the casual feel of the game, because then you'll have like a whole 12 days to do this whole thing and to collect all the eggs and get all the exclusive furniture items. So I mean, it would make sense that like it's really playing to the casual feel of the game. But I mean, maybe it's also that the game just launched, so they don't want to like make a one-day exclusive holiday right off the bat when the game just came out, you know what I mean? So that could be also it, but I would be totally down for if in the future, like, all holidays are not just tied to a single day. Like, that sounds like really fun and casual and great. Like, why not, right? And then they also talked about, like, there are going to be future updates for future holidays. They said the next one's going to be like Earth Day. So that's going to be cool. I'm excited for that. And but one thing I do want to talk about Animal Crossing is that I'm honestly a little bit concerned because the game is amazing. I've been playing the game. I love it. No complaints. But one thing that has me a little bit concerned is that for everything that it's adding, it feels like there's little tiny things that it doesn't have, or maybe doesn't have, from old games. Like, where are the Nintendo items? Like, that kind of stuff. It's just like, where's Mr. Rossetti? Like, where are all these other NPCs that you can't scan in with amiibos? Like, and even just like the fruit, I feel like bananas and durians are missing. Like, maybe I'm crazy, but when I was looking at the catalog for Nook Miles, there were only like a couple of slots. And from what I've seen, I have not seen anybody with bananas or durians, which I know for a fact were in past games. So I'm a little concerned that maybe not all the content we were expecting or want is in this new game for Animal Crossing. So maybe that's like, if they plan to support it with updates in the future, or like free DLC, even paid DLC, I'd be fine with to an extent. But, you know, that's just something that's been on my mind lately. I'm curious if it's been on yours, that like this game, for all it's added, and I love what it's added, it feels like there's also a lot of other key elements that aren't there, that have always been there in the past, that I'm just a little concerned about. And it's not really affecting me now because it's still very early in the game. And I don't time travel. I don't do any of that. I just play the game how it's meant to be played. So, I mean, all those elements I likely wouldn't have run into yet anyway. But it's still something for the future that I hope is there and I want to see there. But I'm concerned that it's not. So, yeah, that's just my little take on Animal Crossing. So they announced some updates for the holidays. That was about it. So let's talk about the next game now. All right, the next game was another shadow drop, and it was a really wacky game called Good Job, and it was like it's like this guy. It kind of reminded me of like something. I don't remember it, but it's like, I don't remember what it's called, but it's like you play as like two white blank slate figures, and you're like carrying stuff around and like trying to solve puzzles. But it also kind of reminds me of like the Goose Game, how it's just like wacky and you're like messing around. I don't know. It just seems like a lot of fun and something really crazy. And similar to like Shin Sakai Into the Depths, it kind of was something that felt like it would have been more at home at the Indie Direct. But as I said at the beginning of the video, this is just like something Nintendo, like a quick little direct to talk about what they're having soon and like right now. So, you know, it wasn't anything big, but it was still something that I thought was really cool and caught my eye. And it's something that just seemed really fun and like funny. So yeah, Good Job. And it was a shadow drop. So yeah. The next game was Catherine Full Body, coming out on June 7th. And oh my god, Catherine. That game is so weird and funny. He's in that like whole love triangle or quad tangle or whatever the hell they called it. And he's doing like puzzles in his dreams in his underwear. I've heard so many wacky things about that game. I've heard it's a lot of fun, but I've also heard like some other stuff. And, it's another, hooray. It's like another mature game on Switch. Like Nintendo's really like, in the past, they didn't really support mature games, but they're really just letting out, like, they don't care on the Switch. They're bringing in anything. And I've heard they're, like, maybe some explicit scenes in that game. I don't know. I've just heard. I haven't played the game. Don't go rating me, like, with pitchforks or something. Like, I'm just saying, like, are there explicit scenes in that game? I don't know. I guess I'll find out. Yeah, no, that game seemed really cool. I always love puzzle games, so that... it just seemed like a really cool game. But wasn't there just like a remaster, a definitive version that just came out? So I'm curious if it's going to have any of those elements or not. But yeah, June 7th, that game comes out. It looks really cool. I'm excited for it. Yeah, then there was a little small bit about a Ring Fit update. It was really cool though, because they're adding like other Nintendo music, like from Splatoon and Breath of the Wild, which I thought was really cool. And from Odyssey as well. And there was also like a jog mode if you don't want combat. And they're just adding a bunch of languages, which I'm surprised wasn't in that from the start. But I mean, it is what it is. At least they're adding it now. And, Ring Fit Adventure, I don't have it personally, but I heard it actually sold pretty well. And like a lot of people love it. Not even like for just a fitness game. Like I've heard it's a pretty good game in general. So, I mean, I don't think I'll check it out, but I'm glad they're supporting it more for those that really like it. And I do hope it continues to do well. Next, they talked about a game called King's Bounty 2, King's Bounty 2. And it's another like tactical RPG game. And I've never heard of it, but it looked really cool. The graphics looked cool. It seemed like more of a fantasy thing, which is my kind of thing. And I got super excited when like the guy, I guess the main character, was dual wielding. I was like, Kirito, is that you? But yeah, it seems really cool. Like, I like tactical games, and yeah, it seemed like it would be in my alley. And yeah, it said just 2020 for the release date, but it seemed like a cool game, and I'm excited to see what it's about. They did say that it's a sequel though, so I'm hoping that I don't really need any pre-existing knowledge going into it. But I mean, if I do, I can just look up a video summary or something of the first game. But or if the first game is on Switch, I'm not sure. But yeah, it just seemed like a really cool game, something that I'll have to check out. It's funny because I see all these like really cool games on Directs, and I'm like, oh, I gotta check this out. When am I ever going to check out these games? I have like a 20-year backlog, let's face it, we all do. But it's still something that piqued my interest, and I would want to play eventually, even if that eventually isn't going to be anywhere in the next 20 years. But it is what it is. Still excited for it. Next, can you believe it? It was a Smash announcement, bro. They teased us. They were like, all right, the sixth character. The first character in the new pack is a character from ARMS, baby. Let's get it. They didn't say who the character was, but they did bring up the roster. They're like, is somebody here? And they were like, but we're not going to be talking about it until June. It's extended production time just because the character is probably weird to work on, and also because of the pandemic. But I'm really excited. Like, I loved ARMS. I played it. I haven't played it that much. I've only played it for like 10-15 hours, but I gotta play that game more. I really loved it, and I'm excited to see who that character is. Like, anybody who it is, well, that's not true. Most of the characters I'd be happy with. I was honestly expecting like the ninja guy at first, but then they were just like, we're not telling you who it is. But I don't know, maybe it's Twintel. I wouldn't be too unhappy with that. Twintel. Yeah, that's enough of that though. But yeah, and then they also announced that ARMS is getting a free trial, which I'm happy about. That game really needs more attention. I thought it was a very, very good game. Maybe not enough content, but that's about it, really. Other than that, it was just very solid, and they did continue to support it for a very long time. Kind of similar to Splatoon in that way. I think it ended up losing support at like the same time Splatoon did. And it's kind of funny because like the events it did were like always the same time as Splatfests too. So that's kind of funny. But yeah, I always see a lot of parallels between those two games. It's just ARMS didn't really take off as much as Splatoon did when that first came out on the Wii U. But I mean, it's a good game. I should really play more of it, and I'm excited to see who the next character is. Whether it's Ninja Guy, Twintel, the girl, whatever her name is, that scientist, the Goo Boy, the Mecha Boy. I doubt it's going to be like the Spring Man, because we already have an assist trophy for him, and he's just like too generic in my opinion. So I honestly hope it's not Spring Man. Although if it is, while I wouldn't be excited for him as a character, I would be excited for it in the way that it means that assist trophies aren't locked into just being assist trophies. So that'd be cool, but I mean, I still hope it's not Spring Man, even though that would mean assist trophies can be characters. So yeah, I think that Scorpion guy would be cool, or like the Evil Doctor. I think my top two for an ARMS character, probably Twintel or the Evil Doctor. And then after that, the Scorpion guy or the Ninja Boy. But I mean, definitely it's between Twintel and the Evil Doctor. I'm probably leaning more towards Twintel though. But yeah, I like pretty much any character in ARMS I'd be satisfied with. It's just, those two more so. And it's kind of funny that the Smash announcement wasn't really the highlight of this Direct. I mean, it wasn't like a full Smash announcement either. But still, it's kind of cool that, it didn't steal the show in the way it normally would. It's nice to see that there was other heavy hitters in this Direct. Okay, the next thing they talked about for a while was Bravely Default 2. And, I've never played the first two games on 3DS, Bravely Default and Bravely Default 2nd, which is kind of weird. Like, Bravely Default 2nd, and then you have Bravely Default 2. Yeah, I don't know, naming isn't really the best for that, but it seems like a really cool series, and I've heard very, very good things about the Bravely Default series and how it's just a very good JRPG. I will admit though that the art style at first didn't really appeal to me, and the graphics didn't really look that good. But once it got to the part of the trailer with that pirate guy, I was blown away, and I really changed my tune quick, because they zoomed in on the models, and I'm like, holy hell, that looks detailed. And then they got into some of the gameplay, and I'm just like, bro, that looks so beautiful. So although the art style isn't something that initially appealed to me, it's definitely something that, you know, I'm really liking now. So yeah, it just looked really cool. And I'm really actually excited for this game, because it's a brand new story. I don't really have to have any investment in the previous games. And yeah, like I said, I've heard it's just a very, very good game. And, you know, it looked like it had a lot of cool features, like mixing classes. That looks really fun. But yeah, that game, they just announced 2020 for it. So I'm hoping sooner rather than later. But it looked very, very cool. And it really grew on me. So yeah, Bravely Default 2nd. Or no. Bravely Default 2. You see what I mean with these names? Yeah, but can't wait. All right, the next thing that they talked about that really piqued my interest was something that I wasn't expecting, but really ended up liking a lot. It was like a Clubhouse game pack with a bunch of like classic board games or tabletop games, and it just looked like a lot of fun. They were like a bunch of different card games, bunch of different like chess, checker. Actually, I don't know if chess was on there, but they had like a bunch of card games. They had like checkers, they had shogi, they had like toy games, like train games, war games, tank games. It just looked super, super cool. And it's not something I thought I wanted, but it looked like a lot of fun, and something that I want to play with my friends and just by myself. And maybe I'll learn how to play shogi. Like shit, maybe I'll be Shikamaru and be like a fucking shogi prodigy. You know what I mean? But yeah, that game's not a drag. It doesn't look like a drag. It looks like a lot of fun, and I'm really excited for it. Something that I wasn't expecting, but you know, I want it now. You know, you've introduced me to it. Now give it to me. You know what I mean? So that game, they announced June 5th is the release date. So the next thing they talked about was a game called Ninjala, and I believe they showed it briefly in the past. It really reminds me of Splatoon, and just the art style and like the game, how it like looks and plays. And I guess it's like a 4v4 thing similar to Splatoon, except it's more of just like beat the other people, and you're like little ninjas, and you have like gum powers or something. And it's a free-to-play game. It looks like a lot of fun. It looks cool. And I don't know, is it produced by Nintendo or not? Because it just looks like a lot like Splatoon. Not that that's a bad thing. Like, looks cool, and I'm excited to play it. I really want to try it out. I hope it's good. Free-to-play games, you know, it's tough to see where they land, if it's going to be good or not, but I'm hoping this one's good, and I just want to check it out. It's free to play, so I don't really have any excuses. And like I said, May 27th, so yeah. Then there was just a montage of a bunch of different games. One thing they talked about was Panzer Dragoon was also a shadow drop, the remaster. Panzer Dragoon doesn't really look like something I'd like, but I know there's like a very big fan base for it, so good for you guys that are very like looking forward to that game. It's out now, you can play it. So yeah, that was just one thing that really stood out to me from that quick montage of games. And then they talked about one final thing, which I was like, all right, one final thing. Like, these are usually pretty big in Nintendo Directs, but it was just more info on the Pokemon DLC, which I was kind of bummed about, because Pokemon had its own damn Direct like a while back where they only talked about the DLC. Like, come on now. But you know, it is what it is. The DLC does look really good, but I've never played Pokemon Shield and Sword and Shield. I haven't played it yet, I should say. I've been holding off. And you know, now that they've announced this DLC, I'm really holding off. And it sucks because the DLC does look good, but it's like a while till it comes out. Like the Isle of Armor or whatever is like coming out in a couple months, but then like the next one is like months after that. So I'm just kind of bummed, but I don't really want to play Sword and Shield until I can play the DLC like right after. So I'm probably not going to be playing Sword and Shield for a very long time, but the DLC does look really cool. I liked a lot of the stuff they showed, but I am just kind of bummed that it's going to take so long for that to come out. But I mean, you know, I'm gonna have tons of games to play in the meantime, so it's not going to be bumming me out for that long. And but I mean, I kind of hope that there was a different you know, lasting announcement. But I mean, like I said earlier, this wasn't a huge home run. It wasn't meant to be a huge home run direct. It was just like, here's what we have now and for the next couple of months, you know what I mean? So I mean, yeah. So overall, I was actually like very, very happy with this direct. I woke up, I was like, damn, Shadow Drop direct, like hype. I'm watching, that made my morning. But yeah, I was just super happy with this direct. Like, they didn't really show off anything heavy hitting, but I wasn't expecting them to. I was just very happy with what they showed, like with the Xenoblade and the 2K support, mostly Xenoblade. I'm super, super hyped for that game. It gave me chills watching that trailer. And the possibilities with that epilogue content has me very excited as well. Even if it ends up just being like a little story, I'm super happy with it. And you know, I'm kind of confused because it showed Shulk. Is it Melia, the girl's name? I haven't played the game in a while, but kind of confused why it's them two up there if it's an epilogue. Like, why aren't there other characters up there? So I'm just interested. I wonder if it's just going to be like a little tale between those two, or if it's going to involve other characters. And like I said, I speculated earlier with the portal and whatnot. So yeah, I'm just kind of excited for what it means. But even if it doesn't really end up being anything, I'm very happy. I'm very happy, and I'm very excited to play this game. It was definitely the big thing for me in this direct, and really, it could have just been that, and I would have been happy. But yeah, overall, the direct was very, very, very good for me. I very much liked it. You know, I didn't really need it, but I'm very happy that we got it. And you know, can't wait for when E3 time comes around. Even though E3 is not going to be there, companies are undoubtedly going to be doing their own thing around that time. So I'm just very excited to see future game content, whether that comes from Nintendo, whether that comes from Microsoft, whether that comes from Sony, because, you know, I'll be honest, I'm not really a big Microsoft head. I've never personally owned an Xbox, but, you know, I might get one in the next console generation if, you know, I have the money, if the games appeal to me, and if I think it's worth it. But even if Microsoft isn't involved in my future, I'm still very much excited for what Nintendo has in store and what Sony has in store with the PlayStation 5. So, yeah, sorry, I got a little off track, but yeah, I really love this direct. I didn't need it. I wasn't planning on making this video today, but I mean, I'm very happy that I get the opportunity to and see what is coming. And, you know, more games to add for my backlog, 20-year backlog. But yeah, it is what it is. I really enjoyed it. That's about all I have for this video. Let me know in the comments what you guys thought about the direct. What was your favorite thing? What was your least favorite thing? What were you hoping you saw more of? Tell me also what you thought I could have done better and what you liked. Please give this video a like if you liked what you saw. And yes, please subscribe if you want to see my content in the future. I'll see you guys in a future video, and I hope you guys have a great one. Yeah, Nintendo Direct hype, boys. Let's get it.